I want you to just imagine for a second posing for a single photograph.
Right.
Just one click of the camera.
Right. Just a split second.
Exactly. But instead of that picture just, sitting quietly on your camera roll, millions of strangers are suddenly dissecting every single pixel of it.
Oh, that sounds completely exhausting.
Right. They're analyzing your wardrobe choices, zooming in on your posture, and somehow using the slight downturn of your mouth to diagnose your deepest psychological state.
And the overall health of your relationship, probably.
100%. It's wild. Welcome to the deep dive, by the way.
Glad to be here. And honestly, it sounds like a dystopian surveillance experiment when you put it like that.
It really does.
Because we generally think of photographs as just simple captures of a moment. But the reality is, the moment a photograph enters the public arena, it instantly transforms into this massive, heavily coded text.
And everyone on the internet feels perfectly qualified to read it.
Exactly. To read it, interpret it, and just judge it relentlessly.
Which is actually the entire premise of our deep dive today. We were taking a magnifying glass to a really active Reddit thread from the community pop culture chat.
This was from June 8th, right? 2026.
Yes, exactly. And the subject of this massive online debate is a single red carpet photo from the Tony Awards the night before.
Featuring a very pregnant Aubrey Plaza and actor Christopher Abbott.
Right. And our mission here isn't just to, rehash celebrity gossip for you. This thread is actually a fascinating sociological breakdown of how the internet functions.
It really is. It's like watching a real-time case study.
We get to watch a community of thousands navigate from discussing the very literal physical realities of fashion.
And biology. Let's not forget the biology.
Right, straight into the darkest waters of parasocial conspiracy theories.
Well, the physical reality is absolutely where we have to start, because before you can even touch the wild rumors that this photo spawned, you really have to look at the literal mechanics of the people in the frame.
Right, because the camera flattens everything into a two-dimensional image of glamour.
Exactly. It completely strips away the environment, the temperature, the weight of the clothing. All of it just vanishes.
It's so true. We tend to view the red carpet as this effortless glamour pageant where everyone is just sparking.
When in reality, it's so much more grueling.
Yeah, if you look at the logistics, it is much closer to a high-stakes endurance sport.
A high-stakes endurance sport.
Yeah.
I love that. And especially if you're pregnant, like Aubrey Plaza is in this photo.
Right, and the Reddit community actually zeroes in on this immediately, which I thought was interesting.
They did. They look at her in this photo, and they don't just see a dress. They see the sheer taxing physical reality of wearing that outfit.
Because it looks heavy.
Oh, incredibly heavy. Several users were pointing that out. And one user made this incredibly vivid comparison.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
The crock pot. They said the visual weight of the dress looked like carrying around a crock pot 24/7.
A crock pot. Just lugging a heavy ceramic kitchen appliance strapped to your stomach.
Yes. While trying to look elegant for hundreds of flashing cameras. It's a lot.
It really is. And then, you add the biological reality of being pregnant on top of that.
Right, because the thread gets highly practical very quickly. They start debating the bathroom logistics.
Because pregnant people often need to use the restroom frequently.
Yeah, so users were trying to calculate how she could possibly manage that in a complex, heavy gown inside a crowded Broadway theater.
It's a nightmare scenario, really.
It is. But there's a real grounded empathy in the thread at that stage. People are really feeling for her.
But the part of that physical breakdown that really caught my attention was when they pivoted to body temperature.
The thermodynamics of the red carpet.
Yes. Because we almost never think about that. One user left this great comment about how they are normally the kind of person who is always freezing.
Right. Bad circulation, constantly wearing sweaters.
Exactly. But when they were pregnant, they said they felt like the literal furnace from the movie Home Alone.
That terrifying, glowing basement furnace.
Yes. It's such a brilliant pop culture reference because it perfectly captures that specific physical discomfort.
And other users chimed in too, noting that their partners finally got to turn the AC up to full blast in the middle of summer.
Right, because their pregnant wives were emitting so much body heat.
So when you look at Aubrey Plaza in this photo, you aren't just looking at a movie star posing.
No, you're looking at a human furnace.
A human furnace carrying a metaphorical crock pot who probably desperately needs a bathroom break.
While standing under incredibly hot, concentrated television lights.
That physical context completely shifts the lens of the photograph, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. It grounds the image in physical distress rather than emotional distress.
But of course, the internet didn't just stop at giving Aubrey empathy for her physical reality.
No, they never do.
They immediately contrasted her situation with Christopher Abbott's, which led to this massive, highly disproportionate outrage.
Over his wardrobe.
Over the pants.
The pants. We absolutely have to talk about the pants. Because the internet did not give this man a pass.
Not even a little bit.
He is wearing these wide-leg, high-water pants that barely reach his ankles.
And the Reddit users absolutely roasted the stylistic choice.
Roasting is an understatement. One user called them gauchos.
Gauchos. And another blamed the entire trend on GQ magazine.
Right, claiming they've been trying to force ankle-length pants on men for years.
The hyperfixation on the pants is fascinating, honestly, from a sociological perspective.
Oh, so?
Well, here's a man nominated for a Tony Award, which is one of the most prestigious honors in theater, and a massive portion of the discourse is dedicated to the fact that his pants look like he outgrew them in middle school.
That is wild. Someone literally commented, handsome man in stupid pants.
Which sounds like an ancient proverb.
It really does. But the peak of the fashion debate, and this made me laugh out loud, was a user who was so viscerally angered by the pants.
Oh, the tree comment.
Yes. They left a comment telling a 1,000-year-old tree to go curse itself.
Because they felt the pants were so distracting that they knew on a spiritual level they were too short.
It's so specific and unhinged.
Yeah.
But, okay, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Aubrey has a clear excuse with the pregnancy and the heavy dress. Christopher Abbott is just wearing an ill-fitting suit.
True.
And he's a professional actor. Shouldn't he be able to handle a few minutes on a red carpet without looking completely miserable?
See, that is exactly the assumption the internet makes, but it totally ignores his own grueling physical reality.
What do you mean?
Well, he didn't just stroll out of his living room to attend the Tonys. He was nominated for his role in Death of a Salesman.
Right.
And users in the thread who actually follow theater pointed out the logistics of that. He was coming off a 4-show weekend.
Oh, wow.
He literally had a performance that very day.
Okay, so he finishes a deeply emotional, physically exhausting play.
Strips off his stage makeup.
Throws on a tuxedo and rushes straight into a chaotic awards ceremony.
Exactly. The adrenal crash of coming off a Broadway stage is immense.
So you really have two people who are just physically maxed out.
Completely maxed out. But this is where the dynamic of the thread shifts.
Right, because the internet starts with the physical. The heavy dress, the exhausting schedule, the bizarre ankle-bearing pants.
But then, as the internet always does, it moves from observing the physical reality to diagnosing the internal reality.
Which brings us to the Rorschach test of Christopher Abbott's face.
The Rorschach test.
Yeah, let's define what we mean by a Rorschach test here. Because once people got past the pants, they zoomed right in on his expression.
And he definitely does not look like he just won the lottery in this photo.
No, not at all. The armchair body language experts of Reddit went to work right away.
Describing him as looking completely checked out.
Right. They said he looked uncomfortable, empty, or that he had chronic, I want to go home face.
This is exactly where the Rorschach mechanism kicks in. His face in this photograph is completely neutral.
It's just a blank slate?
Effectively a blank ink blot, yeah. Because the face itself isn't broadcasting a clear, loud emotion like a massive smile or visible tears, it forces the viewer to project their own internal anxieties onto it.
And the visual comparisons they used to describe that blankness were incredibly specific.
Oh, they were so creative.
One person said he looked like a mix between the rapper Drake and the actor Josh Hartnett.
Which led to the coining of the term drosh.
Drosh. I can't unsee it now. And another user said it was the wide-set, blocky eyebrows giving that specific look.
Comparing him to a real-life Milhouse from The Simpsons.
Milhouse. It's brutal.
It reveals a profound entitlement we have regarding public figures, though.
We demand a specific performance of joy from them at all times.
Always. But the thread actually begins to police itself here, which is rare and highly interesting.
Yeah, usually these threads just become an echo chamber of negativity.
Exactly. But while half the users are projecting misery onto his blank expression, a whole other faction steps up to defend him.
Let's call them the resting tired face community.
Yes. They mobilize so quickly.
People were commenting that they suffer from this exact condition where they were just sitting there vibing.
And everyone constantly asks them if they are mad or if they didn't sleep.
It's so relatable. But wait, I have to push back again on this.
Okay, lay it on me.
We expect actors to perform, right? they get paid millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Is it really too much to ask for a guy to fake a smile for 5 minutes for the cameras?
Especially when his partner is pregnant and standing right next to him.
Exactly. Just smile for the camera.
That is the core conflict of the whole debate. Should an actor be required to perform happiness 24/7 for our consumption?
Right.
The defenders in the thread argue no. They correctly identify that facial expressions are not a one-to-one reflection of internal emotional states.
And they brought historical receipts to prove it.
They really did. Fans who have followed his career pointed out that this is literally just his baseline face.
I love when the internet becomes an archive. They pointed out that he made the exact same neutral, somewhat aloof expressions during his 4-year relationship with the actress Olivia Cooke.
Right, so it isn't a reaction to Aubrey Plaza, it is literally just his face.
Users who lived in Brooklyn even chimed in, which was so funny.
Oh, mentioning that they used to see him walking around Greenpoint and Williamsburg all the time.
Back when he was starring on the show Girls.
And he looked exactly like that, just a guy walking to Whole Foods with resting, tired face.
Right, he acted for 2 hours on stage that afternoon. He is off the clock.
So we have a guy who is tired, wearing pants he probably didn't pick out, standing next to his exhausted, pregnant partner.
That seems like a very reasonable, boring truth.
It does.
But the internet hates a boring truth, right?
Oh, they absolutely despise it. When fans refuse to accept "he's just tired" as an explanation for a neutral face, they start manufacturing malicious narratives to fill the void.
Cognitive dissonance is a powerful thing.
It is. When a public figure refuses to perform the expected emotion, the public views it as a glitch in the matrix.
Because the simple explanation just isn't sensational enough to satisfy their curiosity.
Nature abhors a vacuum, and the internet rushes in to fill that void with drama.
Which is where the thread crosses over from a critique of fashion and pants into the much darker territory of parasocial echo chambers.
This part of the thread gets genuinely intense.
Because some fans needed a villain. And right on cue, a controversial blind item gets brought up in the discussion.
Now, you see these blind items floating around social media all the time.
Yeah, they're basically a way to spread gossip legally without naming anyone, just dropping heavy hints so everyone knows who the post is about.
But they are notoriously unreliable, often completely fabricated.
Serving as a vehicle for the internet's worst impulses.
Exactly. And this specific blind item alleged that Christopher Abbott was overheard at a gym,
Loudly ranting to someone about how he got someone pregnant.
The rumor claimed he was really unhappy about it, but she wanted to keep the baby.
It is a highly toxic, deeply damaging accusation. Just horrible.
It really is.
But what I found truly impressive was how the critical thinkers within this Reddit thread meticulously dismantled the logic of this rumor.
They essentially ran a forensic analysis on the physical mechanics of the claim.
Think about the sheer acoustics of a commercial gym.
Right.
You have heavy machinery whirring, weights dropping, loud music playing over the speakers.
To perfectly eavesdrop on a complex, highly personal, whispered conversation in that environment.
You would have to literally be standing shoulder to shoulder with the person.
And if you're standing that close, the person speaking would absolutely clock that you were listening. It defies basic logic.
Which leads to the second major fallacy the thread pointed out.
Yeah.
The psychology of the public figure themselves.
Right. Christopher Abbott is an established actor.
He knows how the media works, and he knows he is recognizable.
Why would a public figure go into a crowded, echoing public space and loudly broadcast career-damaging, relationship-ending secrets?
It completely defies basic self-preservation. It makes absolutely zero logistical sense.
But that brings up the real underlying issue.
Why do people prefer a complicated, toxic conspiracy over the simple truth that a guy is just tired?
Why does our brain prefer the villain narrative? It comes down to narrative fulfillment.
And the Reddit thread actually diagnosed this brilliantly.
By pointing straight to the psychology of the stan, the overly obsessed fan.
This is the parasocial dynamic in full effect.
A parasocial relationship is a one-sided psychological bond where a fan feels a deep, intimate connection to a celebrity.
But social media creates an illusion of intimacy that totally warps that bond.
How do you mean?
Well, the way I think about parasocial relationships is like being the star, the writer, and the director of a massive, sweeping romantic drama.
Okay.
But the movie is only playing inside your own head.
Right.
And the celebrity you've cast as your co-star has absolutely no idea they are even in the film.
That is a perfect analogy. You are writing a script for someone who doesn't have the pages.
Exactly. And in this case, some fans have developed an incredibly intense, almost fiercely protective attachment to Aubrey Plaza.
Which, to be fair to the fans, the thread acknowledges comes from a genuine place of empathy.
Right, she has had a visibly tough year in the public eye, separating from her husband, who has since passed away.
The fans know she has been through a massive amount of personal difficulty.
And they desperately want a fairy tale ending for her.
Empathy is the starting point, but when that empathy intersects with the illusion of intimacy, it warps into entitlement.
So when Christopher Abbott doesn't smile on the red carpet,
He breaks the fairy tale script the fans have written in their heads.
and users in the thread noted that some of these overly attached fans actively resent him.
They project malice onto him because, in their eyes, he is living their dream.
That phrase is so unsettling, living their dream.
It really is.
Imagine navigating a new relationship and a pregnancy, and thousands of total strangers on the internet are furious at your partner because they feel they should be the one standing next to you.
It is a staggering level of delusion, deeply unsettling.
And the thread points out a profound, almost tragic irony in this behavior.
Oh, yes. Several users noted that these obsessive fans seem to have completely missed the central message of Aubrey Plaza's own art.
They specifically referenced her movie, Ingrid Goes West.
The irony is so thick there.
That movie is a blistering, uncomfortable critique of toxic internet obsession.
And the dangers of projecting your own empty desires onto a stranger's curated online life?
You have fans literally acting out the plot of the movie she starred in to warn people not to act like that.
Exactly. They are demonstrating the exact pathology the film critiques.
But fortunately, the thread wasn't entirely consumed by the echo chamber.
No, thankfully. To counter the toxic gym rumor, the more grounded fans brought in actual verifiable evidence of the couple's dynamic.
They ground the conversation back in reality.
They pulled up an older interview from when Aubrey and Christopher worked together on the play Danny and the Deep Blue Sea.
This is long before any of this current relationship timeline, right?
Right, the infamous production where he severely injured his leg on stage.
Oh, I remember that.
In that interview, he gushed about working with her. He explicitly said that his main goal, his entire focus during the grueling production, was just trying to make her laugh.
See, that completely contradicts the checked-out, miserable guy at the gym narrative.
He is a guy who pushes through a literal leg injury just to make his co-star smile.
Plus, as the thread proudly noted, she has been thriving professionally too.
They highlighted her recent, highly acclaimed work in the Ethan Coen play Let's Love.
So when you pull all of these threads together, the full picture emerges.
You have two successful working actors who have collaborated deeply in the theater.
They clearly respect each other's talent.
And they are navigating a massive life change together while dealing with the sheer physical exhaustion of their schedules.
When you synthesize the thermodynamics of her dress,
The adrenal crash of his play.
the baseline reality of his resting tired face,
And the history of their mutual respect.
the toxic narrative completely collapses.
It really does. The photograph isn't a documentary of their failing relationship.
It is a blank canvas that the public is using to paint their own anxieties, jealousies, and parasocial scripts.
It truly serves as a masterclass in how the internet digests information today.
We witness the entire life cycle of digital discourse in one thread,
It shows how quickly passive observation turns into aggressive interpretation.
and how easily interpretation devolves into complete fiction when people need a villain to satisfy their own internal narratives.
We have covered so much ground here.
Really have. We started with a single photograph from the Tony Awards, just one frame.
And from that one frozen second in time, we traveled through the biological realities of maternity wear.
The absurdity of ankle-length men's pants causing spiritual anger.
The Rorschach test of a neutral facial expression.
And finally, the deeply flawed acoustics of gym gossip and the dark side of toxic fan culture.
The overarching lesson here is really about cognitive friction. We have to train ourselves to pause before we fill in the blanks. When an image lacks obvious joy, our brains automatically fill the void with drama.
Recognizing that mechanism is the first step to not falling for it.
Exactly.
And I think there's a huge direct application here for all of us long after we log off Reddit.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's very easy to look at fans obsessing over Aubrey Plaza's red carpet photos and think, well, I would never do that.
Right. I'm above that.
But how often do we do a micro version of this exact same thing in our own lives?
We do it constantly.
Think about the last time you were scrolling through your own social media feed.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked at a photo of a friend and their partner, noticed they were standing a little too far apart, or that one of them wasn't smiling wide enough.
And instantly texted a mutual friend to ask if they are doing okay.
Exactly. We are all guilty of diagnosing the health of an entire relationship based on a fleeting two-dimensional post.
We are all running our own little pop culture chat rooms in our heads about the people we know.
The scale is smaller, but the psychological mechanism is exactly the same.
We take a sliver of data and build an entire cinematic universe around it.
So I want to leave you with a final lingering thought to ponder on your own.
Think about the thousands of candid, off-guard photos that exist of you in the background of other people's lives.
Think about the photos where you are exhausted after a long day.
The ones where your outfit is fitting a little weird.
Or the ones where you are just staring blankly into space because you're trying to remember if you locked your front door.
If we subjected your life to this level of intense public scrutiny,
if we analyzed every tired blink and every awkward posture as concrete evidence of your moral character and the stability of your life,
would any of our lives survive the test?
When you frame it like that, I think we all know we would fail miserably.
We absolutely would.
Exactly. Something to think about the next time you are analyzing a photo online. Until next time, stay curious, and maybe give your friends a break the next time they forget to smile for the camera.